Hello, everybody. Good evening. I'm Dr. Nindam here, right? Thank you very much for you all to come into this session to talk with this industry, right? I would like to welcome our DVCs, Prof. Johari, right? Also, on behalf of our deans of School of Management, Professor Dato' Syed Mustaq. Also here invited guest, Dr. Ali, all right? Okay, and Dr. Ashley, thank you for coming for this session. This is the first session of Tea Talks, organized by School of Management, and I was informed by the deans of School of Management there will be another sessions also for the Tea Talk that will be invite in the industrials. There will be continuous sessions. And also we welcome our guests here, the keynote speech, Puan Saniza binti Said, Vice President of Nation Institute of Accountants. Welcome. So I hope you will be seeing us annually. And from perspectives of Apple QDBA students, Apple QDBA candidates, Mr. Chin Chi Sing, also the managing partners of the CCS and company. All right, welcome. All right. Also, we welcome to our guests here from schools, from various schools, from the heads of marketing, right? From these Tatman Sori's group of companies, Prof. Dr. Ahmad Sabri, right? Welcome to the rest of the DBA's students, DBA candidates, MBA candidates, and the staff of ASEA University. Welcome to the sessions of Tea Talk this evening. So without further ado, I would like to invite our beloved DVC, Professor Johari, to give a few words of the opening ceremony for these sessions. Please come.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Let me give a short welcoming remarks here. On behalf of the ASEA University and the School of Management, especially in the Department of Accounting, to welcome all the participants from AeU as well from outside of ASEA University, and our beloved speakers. Thank you for coming and support our faculty, School of Management, especially in the area of accountancy. So this is part of the series of activity for the school to organize Tea Talk, seminars, workshop, webinar, and other academic meeting that we plan over these years. And today we most welcome our speaker is our keynote speech by Saniza binti Said, Vice President, Malaysian Institute of Accountants. Thank you for coming all the way from Penang. This is a welcome for Saniza traveling all the way from Penang. Mr. Chin Chi Sing, from is a managing partner CCS and company somewhere in Petaling, Petaling, and also Puan Rasmini binti Ramli. Thank you for coming to this seminar and presenting your panel. Puan Rasmini is the Executive Director of Sustainability, Digital Economy and Reporting from Malaysian Institute of Accountants. So for the keynote speech, Puan Saniza will be presenting the first speech, followed by our panel guest speaker, Puan Rasmini, on the topic of accountancy profession in the age of the digital transformation. And our second guest speaker is Mr. Chin Chi Seng. The topic will be discussed will be on e-invoicing opportunity and challenges. Yeah? So thank you again for our quite a short talk here. We will finish around 4 o'clock. Yeah? So without further ado, I leave this session to Mr. Dr. Khairul to lead the talk this afternoon. Thank you very much to all. Okay.
Thank you, our beloved Professor Johari, DVC of ASEAN University. So welcome again, Puan Rasmini Ramli. This session is about CEO roles, right? CEO roles, how the CEO manage the organizations, right? Most of you probably in administrative level or management level, sometimes we don't have perspective of CEO, especially on the accounting perspective, because they are very analytical perspective. You can see that all numbers appears. These all numbers person. So myself, I'm not an accounting person. So I'm more to creative thinking rather than analytic thinking. So without further ado, we welcome our first keynote of the today, Puan Saniza binti Said. Welcome.
Inilah masalah dia kan. Bila orang yang special ni.
Special but very powerful.
No.
They say that women power.
Women's power. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. MC, Dr. Khairul Nizam. Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Good thank you to Professor Dr. Johari Ali, Deputy Vice Chancellor of AeU University, heads, advisor, educator and students, and also not to forget distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon again. Okay, thank you for inviting me to share a few words at this tea talk with the CEO. So I'm looking at all the CEO now. Okay, it is an honor to represent the Malaysian Institute of Accountants, the regulator and developer of the accountancy profession under the Accountants Act 1967. As a developer, MIA is dedicated to nurturing future accountancy talents as Malaysia embrace sustainability and move up the value chains. Today, MIA has nearly 40,000 members contributing across diverse roles and industry at every level of the economic value chains. To drive economic growth and address talent shortage, especially in accounting, it is crucial that accountancy professions remain future fit and relevant to the evolving needs of employers. MIA has implemented several initiatives focused on attracting, nurturing, and retaining talent in key areas. The first one, MIA emphasized on the digital adoption among the accountants as we operate in the digital economy. We support digital transformation through the initiatives like MIA Digital Months, MIA Accountancy Financial Technology Showcase, and also the Digital Technology Adoption Awards, which highlight the outstanding digital adoption within the professions. As we embrace the digital transformation, maintaining good governance and strong ethics is essential. Aspiring accountants must uphold professional values to protect the public interest in our rapidly changing digital landscape. As an MIA members, we are bound by the MIA bylaws and professional ethics aligned with the International Ethics Standard Board for Accountants. It is also critical to stay informed on the cybersecurity developments as financial data remains a top target for cyber attacks. Accountants are needed now more than ever to safeguard this sensitive information from breach and ransom attacks. To protect the integrity of financial data, there is a growing need for the enhance of accountancy cybersecurity. This will require collaboration between accountants and IT teams, as well as familiarity with integrating accounting, IT, and also cybersecurity system. Second, MIA has also prioritized sustainability as a key focus for the accountants, aligning with national priorities and ensuring the professional future relevance. Accountants must be equipped to measure, manage, and disclose sustainability risks according to the global standards and provide assurance on sustainability reports. To support this transition, MIA has launched the Sustainability Agenda, which advocates for integrating ESG metrics into business models and decision makings. Our sustainability blueprint for the accountancy profession outline the initiatives to empower accountants in sustainability. You can download the blueprint from the MIA website, and Puan Rasmimi here will share more in her session. She's the expert one. Okay, the third one, to upskill the accountants of all generations, MIA has organized over 1,000 CPE events annually. Our flagship events, the MIA International Accountants Conference, held in June 2024, focus on navigating new frontiers, embracing sustainability. We also incorporate ethics, digital transformation, and ESG into our content to ensure talents are agile and future ready. The fourth one, the strategic collaboration is the key to MIA nation building goals. We work with regulators like the Inland Revenue Board. I think everybody knows IRB. We love it, right? All right. Bank Negara. Some of it actually shake the head. All right. And the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commissioner to deliver the CPE programs, combat financial fraud, and promote anti-money laundering initiatives. We are also working with the Ministry of Finance on the repeal of the Accountants Act 1967 to strengthen the regulations and diversify the accountancy talent pipeline. Ladies and gentlemen, these are a few of the strategic initiatives MIA is undertaking on behalf of the profession. Few profession benefits are from an oversight and membership body like MIA, which is dedicated to develop upskilling accountancy professional for future relevance. I personally encourage all of you to become MIA members when it is eligible. Visit our website or speak to our representative to learn more about the value of MIA memberships. While career development is important, I also urge everyone to maintain a healthy work-life balance, manage stress, and protect your mental health. MIA members can actually access the MIA Member Assistance Program for support. I hope my sharing has been informative and that you have been a better view of understanding of the dynamic and evolving of accountancy profession. Thank you once again to AeU for organizing today's event. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, Puan Saniza Said, for the remarkable keynotes today. And we would like to welcome our first speaker, Puan Rasmini Ramli, to give a speech on the first session. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pertamanya to Prof. Johari, as well as educators, students, of course Saniza, my Vice President, as well as Managing Partner from CCS. So thank you again for inviting MIA. This is an honor to us to have two MIA's representatives at the event. So of course, just now Puan Saniza has given us an overview, a big highlight of in terms what MIA has been doing. And today I will be focusing on what has been done in terms of digital transformation for the accountancy profession. So I will first share in terms of where we are in terms of adopting technology by the profession. Okay. Hello. Okay. And then I will move to share more about digital economy trends at the moment. Mainly, from the MIA that will be more of a local insight. But then, maybe I'll just, okay. So I have two hands, both occupied. Then I will go into some digital economy trends globally. I will talk a little bit about the importance of ethics in technology adoption. And of course, I will also share about Digital Technology Adoption Awards that Puan Saniza mentioned. Then Puan Saniza mentioned, but I will talk a little bit about sustainability. But I'm just thinking this is quite a separate topic from what we have today. So I would love to come again if you want to discuss about the role of the profession in sustainability. In the meanwhile, you can just go to our website, go to the sustainability page and read the blueprint yourself. Right, let's move to the first one. So this is the blueprint that we launched in 2018, that was 6 years ago. The reason for this blueprint, because at that time, we have been talking about IR 4.0, Internet of Things, cyber security, all that. So we know that the profession needs to be ahead. We cannot be left behind. And this is aligned with the global call. So MIA is a member body of the International Federation of Accountants. So the global call at that time is, look, accountants, you cannot not doing anything. So you have to go with the flow and you have to adopt technology. So we then launched this blueprint, and in this blueprint we have the aspiration for the accountants. There are 4 quadrants here that you can see. The one in red is commerce and industry. So these are really people in companies, all that. But here we are talking at AeU University. So the focus would be on the role of the academia, on the aspiration of the accounting academia is really to equip accounting talent with the necessary skills and knowledge to understand and leverage on the global digital economy ecosystem. And of course, that includes in terms of the work that you do on research, the work that you do in lecturing, all that. Then we also set out 5 principles in the blueprint. So when you want to develop your strategy, for the accountants to develop digital strategy, these are the principles that we ask them to consider. Starting from, you need to assess digital technology trends, you need to understand the impact of digital technology trends on your roles, on your organizations, all that. Then you need to identify within your organization who actually have that understanding, who actually have the competency in order for you to implement digital technology. Of course, the next step, you have to harness really implementing it, and a lot of consideration there, whether you have the resources, and the next one you go to funding, whether you have the money to do that. And finally, you need to have a proper governance in relation to implementation of digital strategy. So again, you can actually just Google it and you can find it on the MIA website. So when we launched the blueprint in 2018, before we launched it, we did a survey, 2017 survey of technology adoption, and the findings of that survey have been incorporated into the blueprint. Now, this is, we have done 3 surveys, 2017, 2019, and 2022. And we can really see the progress of the accounting profession adopting technology. But before I continue, maybe if I can just ask, how many accountants here in the room? Oh, is it all? Oh, tu ramai yang malu-malu lah ni. Okay. Oh, okay, accountants always reserve, all right. So that's good. So you can see where we are at the moment. So these are the top 5 technology trends affecting the profession. So you can see the first one there is online services, and that has increased from one survey to the next. things like mobile, cybersecurity, automation, as well as big data and analytics. So those are the top 5 trends affecting the profession. Now, this is quite different. Just now we are saying that these are the trend that will be impacting the profession. But here, what are the technologies that have been used by the profession in the last 3 years? This is specific for 2017 and 2019 surveys. Of course, you can see the top 3 being Microsoft applications, accounting software, as well as cloud applications. And if you can see here, the AI is the last 3 that they have adopted. So at this point of time, they have not really adopted AI. So you can see that about 20% actually adopted in 2019. But let's look at 2022 survey. Again, we still have Microsoft applications and accounting software, the top 2. But fintech has surpassed cloud applications. So we are talking about the use of e-wallets, iPay, all that. And if I highlight again in terms of artificial intelligence, good news that now we have 32% adoption by the profession. Okay, what is the current strategic posture towards technology? I think as we all expected, they will be investing more in technology in the next few years to make it a competitive advantage. They now see that technology is critical for survival and sustainability of their organizations, and of course for our profession. Then modernizing core technology capabilities. So this is now need to be considered core. And finally, they are refocusing the entire business around digital technologies. So now people look at technologies will affect their business models. We also look at barriers of technology adoption, and these are the 3 years findings of the surveys. Back in 2017, 2019, we can see that the first barrier is really high business costs, right? The one at the ranked third. But in 2022, this is no longer the case, where the issue now is lack of talent to utilize technology effectively. So it means that we are looking at whether our future accounting graduates have the competency and skills. But at the same time, for the members currently working in the profession, there is also challenges in terms of how we're going to get this existing workforce to be digital competent. And just want to highlight, and just before this survey, we actually we issued a report. You can again find the report on the MIA website. And the report is about how a study on the incorporation of emerging technology trends into the accounting programs. So we do have a number of recommendations there that we have shared with the Ministry of Higher Education. So again, you can find it on the MIA website. Stages of technology adoption. We did this back, this is 2022 survey, and I think this is because of COVID. And then you can see that, 97% have adopted technology, and they are at various stages of technology adoption. So we really like to see this, but we do wonder what happened to the 3%. So after COVID, they are still not adopting, not sure what happened there. But I really hope they have moved now in 2024. So what are the technologies that have been adopted due to the pandemic? I think you all, you would have gone through this yourselves. Naturally, the technologies relate to video conferencing and group collaboration tools, Microsoft applications, cloud applications, etc. So I think this is really more, I mean, if we look at Microsoft or Google, we normally use these things, and it actually covers all the top 3 that we have here. The responses to COVID-19 pandemic, and again, the first one here is increase in remote working or collaboration. I think we all felt this when we the moment that the Prime Minister at that time announced PKP. So there's no turning back. You just need to move on and use your Zoom, your GM, or even your Microsoft Teams at that time. And the next thing is increasing use of advanced technologies in operations, and third, there more of increased spending on data security, because everyone is now online. There's a lot of data available within the whole system, and there is a risk in terms of cyber security risk. And these responses really align with the technology adoption acceleration. So you can see that 80% actually have accelerated their technology adoption. So this is no choice. You have to do it. And I was at the event this morning when the speaker asked a question to us to say, who is responsible for technology adoption in a company? So they asked, is it the CAO who is responsible? But then the answer is the COVID actually did the acceleration of technology adoption. So some key takeaways. So there are quite a number of things here, but I just want to sum it up into 3 things. First, we have to continue learning. Let's say you have learned about AI, now we have to learn about Gen AI, ChatGPT, etc. You then need to understand how it will impact your roles as academicians, your role as accountants in your respective organizations, and finally, always think digital. Whatever you do is always think how you're going to digitalize it so that to improve your efficiency, to increase your revenue, etc. Okay, let's look at digital economy trends, more of the global trends. This is Future of Jobs report in 2023. So a few key takeaways are technology adoption will remain as a key driver for business transformation. So what are the technology trends? We are looking at big data, cloud computing, and AI. So these are the few main technology trends that will be adopted more and more. And one interesting finding is while 44% of workers' skills will be disrupted in the next 5 years. So this is really important for us in the profession. But the accounting profession has transformed so much. I remember when I started working in 2000, we need to use this big spreadsheet to do PPE audit, right? But now you no longer use the PPE. You don't even use your calculator that much anymore. Everything is just being done by computers, by Excel worksheets, all that. So, not too worried about the impact of AI, but definitely you need to understand how it works and how it can be utilized in your work. Again, another report by the World Economic Forum, the impact of Gen AI, you can see here, it will increase efficiency of output production, it will accelerate innovation, increase in standards of living, etc. But what I would like to highlight here is there will be increasing in terms of decline in trust. And we as a profession, this is one of the areas that we can play a big role. So I can share a little bit more later. And 50% of the respondents to this survey done by the World Economic Forum expect that generative AI to be commercially disruptive this year. Some global key trends by Forbes, Washington Post, Gartner, etc. include things like, you know this, AI, Gen AI, sustainable technology, AI trust, quantum computing, all that. So you need to do some research on all these areas. Now, let's look at the global risk. The themes still the same. 53% the risk in terms of AI-generated misinformation and disinformation. Right, so if you try to go into the free ChatGPT and you find something on IFRS, they're still not that accurate yet. But I'm not sure if you go to the paid one. But I have tried the free ChatGPT. didn't give me the information that I'm looking for. And 39% risk on cyber attack. So this is just natural, right? When everyone goes online, when there are just so much data out there, either public or private, there will be cyber security risk there. And the one here is cybersecurity leaders fear AI, hence advantage to attackers. Again, cybersecurity risk the risk is very high, and we need to mitigate those risks. Quickly on SCCA Global Talent Trends. So they did a survey on the accountancy professionals, and 78% of the accountants believe that AI will actually help them to add more value to organizations. So this is the good news. But 54% of them believe that they do not have the skills needed in order to use AI, and therefore they can actually add value in their workplace. So this is really key, and I know all the educators here can play a significant role in terms of that. In another report, we're still talking about AI and ChatGPT. It will have impact in the next 12 months. So this was in 2023. So they can already see the impact in 2024. And businesses are taking various actions to improve technology adoption in the next 12 months. Of course, bigger companies will do more of that compared to smaller companies. But smaller companies do have advantage in terms of if you want to make change, you can make it quicker, and you may need to invest smaller compared to bigger companies. So I think we need to use that as to our advantage as smaller businesses, smaller universities, all that, so that you can you can be at the top of the game. Future of Professionals report. This is by Thomson Reuters. So I think here the impact of AI on future professionals. Again, I think the theme is, the message is similar, that AI will have transformational high impact to the profession, but people will be worried about using AI responsibly, but whatever it is, it will be a more fulfilling career for the accountancy profession here. Given that now you don't need to do all that mundane, repetitive tasks, you just need what is value added to the organizations. Maybe if I can just illustrate one example where invoice processing, for example, in certain companies where they use, they just need to scan the document, and then the information being captured by the system, where it will then just post it to their accounting system. Then they can process for payment, etc., etc. So you don't need to do that three match. You have to look for the invoice. You have to look at the delivery order. So you can avoid that. Of course, at the system testing, that is important, but those will no longer needed to be done by a finance exec, for example. Let's quickly look at the impact of AI replacing humans. So whether AI can really replace humans. What do you think? Okay, very confident there. Anyone want to say they will replace us human? Okay. I still remember a film, I can't remember this actor, where, he's a robot and he lives like 100 of years, and he finally got a court's decision to say that he can kill himself, and I can't remember what's the name, but I always imagine that when we talk about digital technology.
Robert Williams movie, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, please watch that. If you think about digital technology, you just watch that film again and again. All right, so the 23 EY CEO Outlook Pulse they actually surveyed the CEOs, and it was revealed that 68% of CEOs believe that job losses will actually be counterbalanced with new roles and career opportunities that AI will create. So you may not have, let's say the finance exec just now, right? They need to do the tree matching, whatever. So that particular job is no longer there. But there will be a new function or job for the finance executive. When we actually, I will talk about DTAA later, one of the participants of our Digital Technology Adoption Awards, they are doing tax advisory for clients. They are doing it for a construction industry where they need to actually account for each bolt, nut, and whatever. They need to actually decide in terms of capital allowance rate. What is the rate for that, right? So before this, the most junior in the team will need to key in the description, the amount, etc. But now what they did is they actually just scan the document, it will capture, and they can do it in just a few days' time compared to weeks and weeks of the execs doing the data capturing exercise. Okay, all right, so next, let's move. So we know that AI will drive job creation. So it will be a net job creator. So, well, in a way, I can see that there should be no job losses. And nearly 49% of companies expect adopting AI will create jobs compared to only 23% say it will displace jobs. And so when you actually prepare your accounting graduates, what the market demand, what the business are looking for is really accountants with AI skills. And this would include things like prompt engineering. So you need to ask the right question. Well, you don't even need to use ChatGPT for prompt engineering. You can try Google first and try to find the right words for you to get your answers. So very important. The skill will be really critical in the next few years. And this survey also believe that tasks will be augmented, not automated by AI. So meaning AI will be helping the accountants in doing their work, but not replacing the accountants in their work. So it's just that I think accountants and we just need to understand how AI works and how it will impact, how it can help us in doing the work that we are doing every day, especially the most boring one. Okay. Okay, so what are the three main strengths of AI? If anyone could just share it. Why AI is so powerful? Sorry? Time, okay? I heard another one, fast. Yeah, so of course compared to human, nothing lah kan. So three strengths. First is they can deal with huge volume of transactions, which we cannot as human, right? More than 100, I think it will take toll on us lah. Then it can also identify complex and changing patterns because they can analyze thousands, millions of data. They can do a lot of analysis at the back end compared to us. And finally, they are consistent. So if the rules is like that, then the answer will be like that. Not like us human, if the rules are like that, but suddenly today our mood is not so good in the morning, then the decision will change, right? So those are the strengths of the AI. So how it can make human better than AI? Any thoughts? So we say ChatGPT so terror, but we say human is more terror. We have feelings, okay. Emotional intelligence, okay, versus artificial intelligence. Right. Any other thoughts? Limited in terms of... Okay, all right. Yeah, so if you a paid one, they will give more answers, more accurate answers, I guess. So yeah, yes, you are right. So someone talk about feeling. So this is human touch, right? Of course, they are very good at quantitative, but I think we are looking at more of qualitative, given that we can use the quantitative information that they have done for us, and we can relate it to the unstructured data. Of course, now they are also looking at unstructured data. And finally, humans have that understanding, judgment, critical thinking, and decision making. And not to forget about trust that I mentioned to you earlier. So if you are sick, who would you like to see, an AI doctor or a human doctor? AI doctor lah. But really AI doctor give you option A, B, C, D, E. So which one are you? Right? But you are right. So maybe in the next 20 years, you still need human doctor very much. But after 20 years, you may need, kalau meaning you just may need them here lah. Very critical conditions that, right? So this is similar to accountants. How much you can just ask, bots, for example, on some of your technical queries, business advice, all that. You will want to still speak to a human accountant for that. Okay, how am I doing on time? Oh, so far so good, okay. Okay, so I will just skip the outlook and risk here. I think you know that. Just focusing on the opportunities. So again, the profession should leverage on technology to continue delivering innovative and trusted advice. And the accountants need to acquire competencies in things like risk management, scenario planning, AI, blockchain. If you can see risk management, scenario planning, these are really human domain. Of course, you can automate certain things for risk management, but at the end of the day, it still involves judgment, all that. And one of the things that I think we also need to focus on is on communication. You know, AI will give you various information, data, and sometimes it's kind of complex. So as human, I think our main role would be how to simplify that, you know, and explain to people in a layman's term that can be understandable. And I think, you know, as educators, these are your main strength to make complicated things, to explain complicated things become uncomplicated and simple. Okay? All right, so those are the trends. So let's move to ethical guidelines. You may have read on Google about various ethics on using AI, responsible AI, etc. But for this particular piece that we have, which we issued the guidelines on technology usage for public practitioners. Public practitioners means those provide audit services, accounting services, all that. But of course, this guideline can also be used by other accountants. We actually identify what are the potential risks of using technology. And the reason behind the guideline is really to help accountants to address to make sure that they comply with the 5 fundamental principles of ethics in the MIE bylaws. So that include things like confidentiality, whether you have the competencies to provide services, etc. So these are the 6 potential risks that we have identified. They include things like cybersecurity failure, lack of competencies in using technologies, etc. And to address these potential risks, we also provide some guidance. What are the ethical principles in using technology? So we have things like reliance on the output of technology. You need to have the relevant competencies to deal with technologies. Ethical leadership, this is shown at the top for an organization. How you deal with confidentiality of information, etc. So again, you can find all this information in the guidelines available on the MIA website. And just on the MIA bylaws, MIA bylaws is really adapted from the International Federation of Accountants Ethics Code. So there have been some amendments to the code which have been adopted here in the MIA bylaws. So if you are someone focusing on ethics, you can find the amendments on the MIA website as well as the IFAC website. Right. And quickly on Digital Technology Adoption Awards. When we launched the blueprint back in 2018, after 2018, we actually formulated a 3-year operational plan. So an idea was muted at that time, okay, let's do Digital Technology Adoption Awards, right? We know that the adoption of technology quite low at that time. But this is something that we have included in the operational plan. Then COVID came, we put it to a stop. It was decided, let's not do it first. Let's, people are struggling with COVID, etc. So in 2021, we came out with the concept paper. This is the first given birth to Digital Technology Adoption Awards. And the scope is really to recognize remarkable achievements by the profession when they adopt technology. The objectives, we want to promote technology adoptions by the accounting profession. We want to raise awareness of digital adoption impact, and we also want to recognize digital technology adoption efforts. So what are the things that we are looking for? Why we want to do this DTAA, and what are the hopes for the various sector of the profession? So for commerce and industry, we want them to provide enhancements or improvement in the finance function. Public practice, those firms, we want them to retain, reimagine, and innovate their practices and services. So what I have explained just now about how they do the capital allowance for their clients just now. So that is really innovation. You do things quite different compared to previously. And of course, for public sector, for them to improve efficiency of daily operation and increase satisfaction of the citizens. And based on this, we launched the awards in 2023, May 2023. And it's been a long process where participants send their nomination in. There have been adjudication processes, etc. And finally, we had the DTAA presentation ceremony in May this year, where we have 14 winners coming from big firms, small and medium-sized firms, as well as companies. So you can find more about them on the MIA website. And to end my presentation, I would like to leave you with a video on the Digital Technology Adoption Awards. Not sure whether this can be played. Yeah? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Biggie.
Thank you very much, Wan Rasmini. But there's a question from the audience online, Wan Rasmini. Mimi. The question is, in today's digital transformations, most of the small companies, mainly sole proprietors, are facing challenges to adopt and adapt the process due to financial constraints and lack of the resources. Okay, how can they be competent and sustain in their business?
Thank you for the question. I think there's a myth that whenever we want to digitalize, we need to incur high costs, right? Well, it could be true, but it's not always true, right? Because nowadays, when you want to use accounting software, for example, people are going on subscription-based application. It's no longer that you need to get an IT consultant and build your own system just for your accounting system, for example. So, of course, subscription basis, meaning you will incur the cost on a monthly basis. It's not capex. You can actually plan, you know that on monthly basis, these are the costs that you're going to incur. And this is not only accounting software, you're talking about Microsoft subscription, even your cloud storage, all on the monthly based subscription. And one of the things that we did in MIA, we look at for small businesses as well as for proprietors, we issued out this guidance called guidance on selecting software as well as selecting software vendors. So we give a number of consideration what they need to think about when they want to choose accounting software, audit software, tax software, etc. We then accompany that with a database of a number of software companies, about 70 plus companies, so they can actually look at the guidance and then look at the database, and for the one that they like, they can actually just tick the boxes whether those companies actually satisfy their requirements. And in 2020 or 2021, when MDEC first announced the automation grant, which is where is 5,000 matching grant, right? So at first when it was announced, they are only available for companies under the Companies Act, companies established under the Companies Act. We then wrote and engaged MDEC to say, look, we have a lot of small and medium practitioners where they set up firms under MIE. So can we actually include them? Of course, they say they don't have a financial statement, etc. But we got around it. And finally, MDEC said, okay, so for small and medium practitioners, for firms, you can actually apply for that grant. So to a certain extent, that has been quite successful. So I do think it's not impossible. It can be that. But of course, you need to invest a little. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Rasmini. Thank you very much. Presenting the topic of accountancy professionals in the age of the digital transformations. And we will come to the second, our guest speaker, Mr. Chin Chi Seng from the CCS and Company, the managing partners of the CCS and Company. Please welcome. And the topic today is E-Invoicing opportunity and challenges.
Okay, testing. Good afternoon, Professor Dr. Johari, Deputy Vice Chancellor of AeU, Buan Zaniza, Vice President of Malaysian Institute of Accountants, Buan Lasmini, Executive Director of MIA. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chin. Okay, let me show my slide. This is my profile. Actually, I'm an accountant, tax agent, a licensed auditor, and HRD trainer. I'm also the member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants and student of AeU also. Okay, that's why today I have two roles. Representing MIA, also representing AeU. Okay. Actually, to answer the question raised by one of the students just now, I'm a sole proprietor. How do I invest in technology? So this reminds me back to 20 years ago, in year 2004, when I just started my practice. The first thing is I take a small loan to invest in software. I buy all this software. I also bought tax software. So you see, even though you spend some money to invest in a software, invest in technology, but actually it's worth. Why? Because our time cost is very high. It will save a lot of time. Just now our vice president also mentioned that work-life balance. So you see, we need to invest in technology so that we have more time. More time to do what? Okay, at least to spend some time with our family members so that or take care of our health also. Okay, so this one is to answer the question just now. So actually it's worth to invest in technology. Today my topic actually is on e-invoicing. E-invoicing, so it will cover a lot of subtopics. So I don't know whether ladies and gentlemen here, do we have time or not? Because I try to cut my slide, you know, I have about 100 slides. So I try to cut. Because why? My topic actually is challenges and opportunities. But before we talk about challenges and opportunities, we must know what is e-invoicing first. You know? So are you aware that Malaysia has implemented e-invoicing? Started 1st August? Yes, what's e-invoicing actually? Will this affect our life? Yes or no? Mr. Chin, not aware. Mr. Chin, I don't realize, most people, they don't realize because our life is still the same, even though there's, our government has started implemented e-invoicing 1st August, but we don't see any big changes. Right? Okay, but I will spend some time to explain to you actually what is e-invoicing. So we start from concept of e-invoicing. Actually, I think a few months ago, when I went to a showroom to do some presentations, one of the girls that told me, Mr. Chin, I think e-invoicing doesn't affect my company. I asked her, why you say so? Then she told me, Mr. Chin, you see, now our company actually is using digital signature already. And then we save the invoice into PDF form, and then we send by email. So you see, we are in digitalization era. Okay, our company actually is very chunky one. So I don't think we need to bother about e-invoicing. I say no. Actually, by converting existing physical invoice into PDF form, actually it's not e-invoicing. It's not means you are in e-invoicing era. Actually, what is e-invoicing? Before we talk about e-invoicing, we must know what is invoice. Actually, invoice is what? Simple, isn't it? It's a document. It's a document. This document actually contains some of the information. Who are the seller? Who is the buyer? And then some basic information about the distribution of goods and services that we consume or we bought from the seller. And of course, also having some information about how much we are going to pay, we're supposed to pay. So these are the basic content of invoice. Why we need invoice? Actually, it's simple. We need invoice because what? As a businessman, we need invoice because we need to do our accounts. We need to pass all these documents to our accountants so that they can prepare the accounts, and eventually we know how much profit we are making. So these are the basic content of invoice. But our government, they thinks that we must try the best to venture to this digitalization era, so that in last year budget, our government proposed that starting from 1st August this year, we are going to implement e-invoice. Actually, what is e-invoice? Just like I mentioned that invoice is a document. It's a document. It's a piece of paper, so that we know what we bought, what we have bought, or what we have purchased from our seller. So what's e-invoice? In France, there's an E. This E stands for what actually? Please relax a bit. Actually, not much changes. Compare invoice and e-invoicing. E-invoice, actually, they don't have much changes. The only thing is a proof. A proof. That means you still follow your current practice. You issue an invoice, either hand return or by by accounting software or by computer software. So you're still issuing your invoice as per your current practice, but after that, you need to send this particular invoice to Inland Revenue Department for what? For validation. So this is a small changes. This is a small changes. Means what? Mean in the future, not in the future, starting 1st August actually. Starting 1st August 2024, when we issue an invoice, before we pass it to our customer, the first thing is we must send to whom? Income tax department. For what? For them to do a simple validation. So this means what? This means what? In the future, Inland Revenue will know our purchasing rate. If you request for an e-invoice, for example, yesterday I went to Starbucks. So because I want to try whether their e-invoice complies or not, that's why I requested the e-invoice. So that after that, no choice, they ask me, Mr. Chin, you have to fill in some particulars, your names, your IC, some simple information. After I fill my simple information, so they will send all this information to Inland Revenue Departments to get the validation. So at that time, what I'll be, of course, Inland Revenue will know, Mr. Chin bought Americano. When? Yesterday. What time? 3 p.m. How much? 12 ringgit. They will know all this information. So this is the big, actually, process-wise, nothing, not much difference. Right? But actually, in terms of when you look into it, you will see that, wow, it's what? LSTM will know all our spending. Can you imagine if you are a businessman, what LSTM will know? They will know your sales, right? Because when you submit this invoice to SDN to get validation, SDN, they will know your sales also. So they not only know your sales, they also know your purchase. Because similarly, you also purchase some goods, raw material from the other party. So the other party, your supplier, your service provider, they will also send this invoice to Inland Revenue Departments to get validation. So at the same time, SDN will know your sales and purchase as well. So this one, I think eventually we will like Singapore. Okay, so LHDF will use all these information to do simple tax calculation so that you will know how much tax you are going to pay. You are not required to appoint any tax agent anymore. Maybe in the future we will lose our job soon. Okay, so e-invoice actually apply to whom? Mr. Chin, apply to me or not? I'm a student. I'm just a student. So will this e-invoice apply to me? Actually, e-invoice apply to all persons in Malaysia. All persons means what? Means no matter who you are, whether you are a businessman or you are a student or you are a retiree, you apply to everyone. Okay, including transaction, B2B transactions, B2C, B2G, and C2B. Okay, this one C2B, actually it will affect you and me. Can you imagine? I believe most of you, including myself, we have car, right? We have car. So I believe most of you also like me, we have a dream. What dream? To change our car. From a smaller car to a bigger car. Okay? From an old car to a new car. Right? Can you imagine if one day your dream come true, you have a chance to change your car. What happened to you? You might consider to sell your existing car, right? So this one actually is trigger e-invoicing. Why? Because you are selling something. This is a transaction. It depends on whom you sell to. If you sell to a second-hand car dealer, it means it's scooped in C2B. Because you are a consumer, you are end user, you are consumer. So your customer is another businessman. They are doing business. So they will ask e-invoice from you also. From you, including from our lovely suitor also, if you sell your car. So this one actually, take note, e-invoice apply to everyone. So actually, anyone exempted from issuing e-invoice? The first one is royal family members. Second one is diplomatic officer. Third one is government. So our government is exempted from implementing e-invoice. That means now if you go to government hospital or if you go to government clinic or if you park your car outside, you pay parking fees, you will not able to get e-invoice because they are exempted from issuing e-invoice. They will issue you the normal receipt only. Okay, the fourth group of people is individual, is not conducting business. Do you still recall the question just now I'm asking? If you sell your car, if your customer asking e-invoice from you, what do you do? Do you need to issue invoice to them? You can tell them, no, I'm individual, I'm not doing business, I don't know how to issue invoice. So if you want to issue invoice, then you have to think about it. So you can tell your customer this because you are individual, not doing business. So including you and me, if we are not doing business, so actually we are scooped up. And the next one is annual turnover or revenue less than 150,000. This one apply to Magic. Those Magic, they sell pisang goreng or nasi lemak, so their yearly income actually is not much, less than 150,000. They are being exempted. Why they are being exempted? Because if they are not being exempted, they need to buy software, maybe buy software, buy computer, then they will ask, I'm a sole proprietor, I'm a small sole proprietor, okay? So I run a small business, so how am I going to invest in technology? So this kind of question might ask by them. So in order to help them, our government, they come up with this. So as long as your annual turnover less than 150, exempted from issuing invoice. Okay, So, and there are some income being exempted from implementing e-invoice also. The first one is employment income. This is good. Why? Because if employment income is not exempted, means what? Next time when you want to get your salary, HR will ask you, Professor, can you send me your e-invoice? It's weird, isn't it? It looks weird, isn't it? That's why employment income is exempted, and then also including pension, alimony, zakat. Why zakat is being exempted? Because zakat, you qualify for tax rebate. Tax rebates. So in the future, even though without e-invoice, as long as you have the receipt, you're also still able to claim the tax rebate. And then dividend distributed from listed company, and also most of the Sdn Bhd, they are not entitled to deduct the tax under Section 108. They are being exempted, and also including contract value for buying and selling share. If you love to buy share, you buy share from Bursa Malaysia or from stock exchange in overseas. So this one exempted from implementing e-invoice. You just buy and sell, that's it. There's no e-invoice impact. And then the last one actually is if you sell share in a company incorporated in Malaysia or outside Malaysia, this one also exempted. But take note, for example, ABC Sdn Bhd, you are Ali. Okay? ABC Sdn Bhd and you are Ali. So you are the shareholder of ABC Sdn Bhd. And if you sell your share to another Sdn Bhd or another person, so this one actually is exempted from implementing e-invoice. You just sell your share. That's it. But if you are another Sdn Bhd, for example, ABC Sdn Bhd, their shareholder actually is another Sdn Bhd, XYZ Sdn Bhd, or DF Private Limited, PLT. PLT means Liability Limited Partnership, or Trust Body, or Cooperative Society. If you are this four group of people, so sorry, if you sell your share, you have to issue e-invoice. Why? This one is because our government, in this year January, our government implemented a new tax, capital gains tax. So once they issue the e-invoice, so they will use this e-invoice to calculate the tax to be paid. Okay, then you might be wondering how come our government they need to implement this e-invoicing is because to enhance our tax administrative, so that because in our country there are a lot of underground economy. And then there are also a lot of people they never reported their tax, or maybe they under-declare their tax, so that by implementing this new policy, so our government actually the intent to change the Income Tax Act. Okay? In the future, if you want to claim tax deductions, you need to get e-invoice. So this one, if applied to businesses, you need to get e-invoice. For individual like you and me, when we declare our personal income tax, we also try to minimize our tax payable, isn't it? So what we do, we might think, hey, do we buy any books? Do we buy any sport equipment? Do we bring our parents to maybe private hospital to get consultation or not? So this kind of tax relief, we are eligible to claim. So in the future, I think this year budget is quite crucial. We have to pay attention to see whether our government changed the law or not. If our government that changed the law, means what? Mean in future, if you go to buy books, take notes, you need to request e-invoice for what? For tax deduction. Now currently they're still okay with the receipt. They allow tax deduction, but in the future they might not allow. Okay, so why like this? You see, I'm also a tax practitioner. So over the year, I come across funny cases. Also a lot of funny cases. For example, one of my customer, he claimed tax relief for toilet paper. Hey, can I ask you a question? If you go to buy toilet paper, do you think you can claim tax deductions? Personal tax relief? Cannot, isn't it? Then I asked her, hey, how come you claim tax deductions for buying toilet paper? She told me, Mr. Chin, you know why? Because you see one of the tax relief is lifestyle. She told me, Mr. Chin, actually my life is in toilet. Every day I very busy working until I have no life. So when I was in toilet, then I feel relaxed a bit. That's why I think government supposedly to let me claim the deduction for toilet paper. So you see, over the year you can claim tax deduction, no, as long as you won't subject the tax audit okay, they allow you to claim tax deduction. But in the future, if you go to buy toilet paper, you claim tax deduction. Of course, they will know. Why? Because the e-invoice, when sent to Income Tax Department to get validation, description of products, they will clearly state what you bought toilet paper. Okay, that's why our government implementing this one e-invoice technically is to prevent tax avoidance also. So this is one of the very important slide. Key responsibility for buyers and seller. You see, as a seller, what is your responsibility? Actually, before you reach your implementation threshold, you can still follow your current practice, issue invoice, receipt, even though handwritten invoice bill also can. But once you reach your implementation threshold, for example, some of those businesses that reach their threshold 1st August, they have started implementing e-invoicing. So once you reach your implementation threshold, what you need to do to issue e-invoice. To issue e-invoice, then send to Income Tax Department to get validation. But of course, most of those retailers, for example, restaurant, their customer, they don't need e-invoice. Why? Because their customer, they don't do business. They do not require e-invoice. They also cannot claim personal tax relief for makan. That's why they don't require e-invoice. So for this group of people, so if you are a businessman, you still need to issue receipt or invoice. Then month end, you issue another type of e-invoice. We call it consolidated e-invoice. So you see, if you are a businessman, you issue invoice to those people who need e-invoice. For those that do not need e-invoice, you issue invoice to them. But end of the month, this group of people, you see how many invoices you have. For example, 10, you group together, consolidate together, then you submit another type of e-invoice, consolidated e-invoice to government to get the validation. So by doing these two, by submitting e-invoice and submitting consolidated e-invoice, it means that in the future, SDM will know your sales already. They will know your monthly sales before before you submit your tax return. Okay, and then as a buyer, what you need to do, you just get the receipt. You just get the receipt or get the invoice from your supplier if they haven't reached the implementation threshold. And once your supplier reach the implementation threshold, they have to issue you invoice. They have to issue you invoice, and then you just take it then for your accounting purpose. Take note, the last one, receipt and invoice to issue self-bill. This is something funny. You see, sometimes you are not able to get e-invoice. Sometimes you are not able to get e-invoice. For example, import. You import from overseas, you import from, for example, Indonesia, Singapore, Japan. Do you think they will issue e-invoice? No, because they're not in Malaysia. They're not in Malaysia regime. They don't bother. Okay, they will still issue you commercial invoice. So in this kind of situations, if government change the law, without e-invoice, you cannot claim deductions. What you're supposed to do? You need to issue self-billed e-invoice. Means what? Means you receive overseas supply invoice. You receive already. Current practice is what? You receive it, then you record it as your cost, right? Then you claim the tax deduction. But in the future, even though with this commercial invoice, it's not sufficient. What you need to do, you need to issue self-billed invoice to substantiate these expenses so that you're able to claim tax deduction. So from this simple slide, you will be able to know there are three types of e-invoice. First one is normal e-invoice. Second one is consolidated e-invoice. And then third one is self-billed e-invoice. Okay? If you're a businessman, you'll be more headache. Okay, now most of the accountants very headaches because why? More work to do. More work to do. This one e-invoice, you issue, you have to send to HTN to get validation. This one also need to get validation. That one also need to get validation. So accountants, you have more work to do. So good news also, you will not be replaced by AI so soon. I think AI take time to study e-invoice. So we have three types of transactions documents: e-invoice, consolidated e-invoice, and self-billed e-invoice. Self-billed e-invoice actually, you actually as a buyer know that first one, e-invoice and consolidated e-invoice, actually you are a seller. You are as a seller, you issue. Okay, this one actually you are a buyer. You are a buyer, but you want to get tax deductions. You want to prove your expenses. That's why you issue this e-invoice on your supplier behalf. So the first one, the first example just I mentioned is import. You issue e-invoice on behalf of your overseas supplier. And then this one also including, just I mentioned that in the future, if you manage to sell your car, second-hand car dealer, they ask you, Professor, can you issue me e-invoice? Because you are selling your car to me. I need to get tax deduction for this car. How? What you supposed to do? You can tell them, sorry, I'm individual, not doing business. I supposed not to issue e-invoice. If you want to get tax deduction, please issue e-invoice on my behalf. So you do nothing as individual, as a consumer. Actually, we do nothing. We either request e-invoice or we don't request. Okay, if they request e-invoice from us, we just tell them we are being exempted. If you need e-invoice for tax deduction, you issue e-invoice on my behalf. Okay. So e-invoice related offense. Now still a lot of people they still hope for U-turn. Actually, there's no U-turn. No? They hope for postponement, also no postponement. No? So now they have third choice. Now still got a lot of people outside, including my client, hope for change of government. I tell them, forget about it. Forget about it because this is a policy. This is a policy. So just forget about it. So then they don't put it seriously. They say, why I need to spend time to learn, to invest in software, and then invest a lot of time and money. So why should I? A lot of people they are asking this question. Why should I? Okay. So that's why we have offenses. So actually simple. If you don't issue invoice, if you don't issue self-billed invoice, if you don't issue consolidated invoice, the offense once convicted actually is fine. You will be imposed a fine of 200 to 20,000, or sent to jail not existing 6 months, or both, okay? Don't laugh, actually our government, I think a few years ago, they changed the law, changed the Income Tax Act, so now those, if you owe income tax money, it will be subject to, it will become a criminal offense, so they will send you to jail, you are unable to pay the penalty, so, okay. But actually, our government, they don't like send people to jail. When you receive their letter, actually, immediately, you talk to them. So they are very friendly, very nice one. So they also don't want to send you to jail. Okay. Okay. So this one, you might be wondering, Mr. Chin, just so I mentioned that e-invoice must send to SDN to get validation. How to send to them? How to send? Okay. Actually, there are two transmission mechanism. The first one is through My Invoice portal. The second one is through API. There are two transmissions mechanisms, two types. So the first one actually is My Invoice portal. So our government has developed a new portal named as My Invoice portal. So how to go to My Invoice portal? Simple. You just log in. You just log into My Tax. Do you have My Tax account? Can I check with you? You all have My Tax accounts? If you have My Tax account, you just log in. And then after that, you will notice that, you see, on top there, right-hand side, My Invoice. You will see the word My Invoice. Okay. So you just click the My Invoice. Of course, you need to create a profile. After you create your profile, you will see this one. This is My Invoice portal. I'm suggesting you all to create this profile. Why? Just in case you go to buy coffee, you can request an invoice, then you can test whether you receive it or not. You receive it or not, okay? So this is My Invoice portal. And then how to create invoice? It's simple. You can create invoice individually, one by one, or you download an Excel file by batch. This one also, AeU also take notes, because your student may ask invoice from you, okay? So from there you can see documents. You see this one, documents, left-hand side documents. So you can see this is My Invoice portal. So if you log in, this is your My Invoice portal. You can see submitted and received. Submitted and received. Yeah. Submitted means what? Means those invoices created by you and you submitted to Income Tax Department to get validation. Received means what? Means those invoices you requested from your supplier. Okay, you can see this one currently kosong. This is very good to people like you and me. We are very busy. Sometimes when we submit our personal income tax, especially 15 May, due date, isn't it? So we all very panic. You can recall that you bought some books last year, some sport equipment last year, but you do not know where you keep the invoice, isn't it? So this is the problem. Okay, but in the future, not to worry so much. As long as you request invoice, you are able to download your invoice from this My Invoice portal. If you keep that, you can search. There's a date there. You can search. So you will not forget all the claiming all the tax relief, because you can easily extract the information from here. Okay. So in future, if you buy book, please ask for invoice. So you see how to create invoice. Simple. There's types of documents. You just choose invoice, and then after that, you can create your e-invoice from there. So this one, just now that one is My Invoice portal. Using My Invoice portal to create e-invoice, but actually take time. First thing, you need to log in. Sometimes we have no Wi-Fi. Okay, difficult to log in. Having difficulties in login. So this one is another transmission mechanism via API. Means what? Means you are using your current post system. You are using your current accounting system. So to do a linkage, to do some configuration so that this one, your system will integrate with SDN My Invoice Portal, so that you're using your existing your existing post system or software to issue the invoice. Then you just press the button, send. Immediately they will send to SDN. So this one save a lot of times. Save a lot of times. Okay, implementation dates. Okay, we have 3 implementation dates. The first one over already, 1st August. So for those businesses, if their revenue more than 100 million, they started already, 1st August. And then for those businesses, their turnover 25 million to 100 million, next January. And then for all other taxpayer, next year, 1st July. Next year, 1st July is their implementation dates. So we have 3 dates. Okay. So on July, on 26th July, our government published a press statement so that they provide some offer. Because our government understands that a lot of businesses, they are not ready yet. Means their system not able to issue e-invoice. This one including Lazada. Have you buy something? Have you bought something from Lazada lately? So you try to request invoice from Lazada. You will receive a notice, a message from them. They will tell you, oh, our Lazada will issue invoice starting 1st February 2025. Why like that? Because our government, they offer a 6 month grace period, relaxation period to them. So in this 6 month relaxation period, any businesses, if you are not ready yet, you can, even though people ask email from you, you can tell them we are not issuing. Okay, so not issuing. So Lazada, if you ask for email from them, they will tell you, sorry, we don't issue invoice. We will only issue invoice starting 1st February. You can try one. You can try Lazada, and then you can also try Shopee. Shopee is very good. Shopee, they will send you invoice. Okay. So we have 3 phases. 1st August, 1st January, and 1st July. 1st July next year. Okay. And then all these 3 category businesses, they will have 6 months relaxation period. 6 months to prepare. In this 6 months, they can choose not to issue invoice. So now if you go to coffee shop, you can try, hey, can you issue me invoice? Some they will tell you, sorry, we don't issue. Some they will issue to you. For example, coffee bean, they will issue to you. Okay. Typical workflow of invoice. This one, okay, technically, starting from number 1, issuance of e-invoice. So how to issue? Either log in into My Invoice Portal. From there, we issue e-invoice, or using our existing software to issue. So then once you issue, next is to submit. Once you submit, then step 2, validation. SDN will spend about 2 seconds. According to them, they will spend about 2 seconds. They don't take long time. They take about 2 seconds to do some simple validation. Once they do the simple validation, then they will notify. They will send notification to both buyer and seller. You will receive email from income tax department. Okay? If you are buying something from a supplier and request email from them, if they send this email to SDN to get validation, you will receive notification from SDN via your email. They will notify you. And then step 4, if you are a seller, so you need to, SDN will send you a link. Your software will be able to convert this link into a QR code. Once your software convert this link into a QR code, then you can print this invoice to your customer. Of course, now this invoice will have a QR code there. So government only recognize the invoice with QR code. This is a QR code. Then after that, step 5. Of course, within 72 hours, both buyer and seller, they have a chance to cancel this invoice. Okay. For example, if you are a buyer, you buy something. Okay, you buy something, so they send you invoice. You have to check. If there's something wrong, something wrong, then you can request rejection. Request rejections. So of course you need to provide a reason. If you don't provide a reason, so what happens? Sometimes you're facing some joker. They have a lot of time. So whenever you issue invoice that reject, you issue invoice that reject, then it will take a lot of time. Right? So government request them to provide reason. When they ask for rejection, they need to provide reason. So after that, as a seller, you refer to their request and then see whether you want to accept it or you don't want to accept. Okay? And then as a seller also, once you issue the invoice, if you notice that there's some error, you can immediately cancel. So once you cancel, the status of this invoice will become cancel. Okay? If you do nothing, your customer or your student do nothing, after 72 hours, this one will become a valid invoice. Will become a valid invoice, and this valid invoice will store in income tax department's My Invoice portal. Will stay. Mr. Chin, after step 6, then only I noticed there's an error. How? So as accountant, you know what to do. You just issue credit note, debit notes to do some rectification. And this one, this is My Invoice portal. This is my Invoice portal. You can see the first one, Lavenda Confectionery and Bakery. I buy some roti. Then I request the invoice. I test, see whether their invoice comprise or not. Yes, their invoice comprise. So I receive notification from SDN. Then I check my Invoice portal. I can see this invoice. The status is valid. The next one is Mr. DIY. We also requested invoice, and then they also send me invoice. Okay, but not all the businesses, their invoice ready. They are not able to send you, but these two they can. So this is a simple diagram. So for example, if you are a seller, including your AeU, you need to ask your customer, do you need e-invoice or not? If they need e-invoice, they need to provide you information. So after getting all the information, then you send this invoice to SDN departments to get validation. After that, once validated, you send the invoice with the QR code to your customer or to your student. And then your student, of course, they can scan the QR code to see whether this invoice is valid or not. Because some people, some joker or some scammer, they might create fake e-invoice. They might create fake invoice to you. Okay? And if your student, they do not require e-invoice, and then you just issue them normal receipt or invoice. For example, educator here, most of your students, it depends, some they require e-invoice because they want to claim the tax relief, personal relief, education fees. Some, they do not require e-invoice. For example, foreign students, they do not require e-invoice. You can issue them receipt or invoice month end, issue consolidated e-invoice to SDN. So this is a simple flow chart. And then next one, Mr. Chin, how e-invoice look like? Okay, actually, currently we don't have standardized invoice format, but with e-invoice we have standardized formats. You see, but this who is the seller, who is the buyer, and then supply information, customer information, address and contact number, both parties, and invoice details, products and services information, payment information. So e-invoice will have 55, total 55 fields. Easy or not? Difficult, very difficult. If you want to issue invoice, means you are filling 55 fields. Of course, those yellow color are optional. So, okay. So it will take your time to issue invoice. Okay, you can see that if you're a customer, if you're a buyer, if in the future, if you request invoice, the supplier will ask for your names. Number 2, they will ask for your address. Number 15, they will ask for your contact number. 17. So far okay, isn't it? So far okay, isn't it? You are willing to provide, isn't it? They will ask for your number 10, income tax number. Oh, how come? They will ask for your IC, 11, IC or passport number. Weird, isn't it? I buy Pisang Goreng only. Okay, how come you ask IC from me? They will ask for your SST registration number. Of course, most of us we don't have an individual. They will ask for your email. Now email become optional. So far, you see, names, address, and contact number so far okay. But IC and income tax number, you need to provide if you want to get e-invoice. Okay, no more privacy already. Okay, and sometimes there are addition 12 fields requires. For example, scenario number 1, basically apply to drop shipment. Someone buy from you but ask you to ship those goods to another person. So there are addition 4 fields to fill in. And then this one, right hand side one, import and export, there are about 8 fields to fill in. So 55 plus 12, 67. Okay. So can you imagine if you don't invest in IT, if you don't use software, if you don't how to do it? Isn't it? That's why digitalization. We need to invest in software. No choice. Otherwise, it will take time. Take time to issue. This is the e-invoice look like. QR code. There's a QR code there. A lot of information. Including your eyes. You see your name is there. Buyer TIN number. Your name is there. Song Ah Chong. Your IC number is there. Your personal information is there. Is there. Mr. Chin, how to request e-invoice? I teach you how to request e-invoice. Basically, you need to request e-invoice on the spot. On the spot. For example, this one is coffee bean. Okay. But for those like coffee beans, they have a very good system. Even though you request e-invoice on the spot, because not to waste both party times, they will tell you not to worry so much. You see our receipt there, bottom there. There's a website. When you go home, anytime when you're free, you can go to our website to request. This is good to us. So when you go to their website, okay, they will ask you to fill in some general information, the receipt number, to verify whether this is a genuine purchase or not. After that, they will ask you to fill your personal information. You see, buyer TIN. TIN means what? TIN means tax identification number. Means your personal income tax number. They put an asterisk there. Means what? Means compulsory field you have to fill in. But not to worry so much. Individual, for individual income tax number and IC number, you can provide either one. You can provide either one. So I believe most of you will provide IC. So for income tax number, if you think this is a very privacy information, you can choose to using this one. The first one is for Malaysian individual. The second one is for non-Malaysian individual. EI stands for E-Invoice, then 9 zeros. Very easy to remember. 9 zeros, then 110. 10. This one for Malaysian. For non-Malaysian, 20. So in the future, you go to buy books or buy Starbucks. If they ask your income tax number, you know what to price. EI 9010. This is our income tax, another income tax number. Okay. So after that, you will get this e-invoice from them. You will see buyer TIN number EI 9010. If you want to provide your income tax number, if you don't mind to provide income tax number, also can. Also can if you don't mind. If you very mind, then you just provide this number, it's okay. Okay, for individual only, not for company. For company, no choice. You have to provide your company's income tax number. Okay, and then classification code. Okay, when we issue invoice, we need to apply a code. We need to tell income tax department what we are selling. Luckily, currently we have 45 only. Eventually, I think will become more and more. Maybe 4,005 or maybe 4 million. Possible. Currently, we have 45. Okay. Out of this 45, mostly are personal tax relief related. You see, number 1, breastfeeding equipment. This one is personal tax relief related. Number 2, child care center. Number 3, computer, smartphone, tablet. These 3 are personal tax related, tax relief related. Okay. Luckily 45. For example, AeU. Okay. As educators, as educator, what code supposed to use? So education, you need to check, see whether got education or not. Got or not? 010, 010, okay? So we have 45, we have 45, okay? Okay, what opportunity for accountants? Actually, accountants doesn't just look at figure only. Just now, Nizam said in our accountants' mind, all figures. Actually, accountants need to go provide more advisory job. For example, for this one E-invoice implementations, accountants actually can provide assessment and planning for our clients. You need to go through. Some analysis, do some assessment on your clients so that you can provide best solution to them. And then this one, system selection. You see, just now I mentioned that to submit invoice, you need to create one by one. It takes time, right? So now, if your client asks me, which system is good, so that I can save my time, of course, system selections. As an accountant, we can provide this kind of information to them. And then this one also, compliance assurance. You see, there are a lot of information need to fill in order to create an e-invoice. Whether are they compliant or not. So as an accountant, we can help them to check, to provide them a checklist, what they're supposed to put in, not to put in. And then also we can provide training to our clients, training and support as an accountant. And this one also offering strategic advice on system integration. You see, they need system. Unless they are a small businessmen, they can use My Invoice Portal to create e-invoice. Otherwise, they need to invest in system, IT infrastructure. As an accountant, we can evaluate their system, see whether still functionable or not. Okay, and then also integration strategy. This one, for example, lately I have one client. They are doing DIY Dobby, DIY laundry, self-service laundries. Okay, so they tell me, Mr. Jin, we are DIY one. We don't have people there, so we are using the machine. So they just put in their money. So even receipt also they don't print out because the machine is very old. So in this kind of situation, how to comply with this invoice? So this kind of things, a lot of people will ask you, a lot of clients will ask you, as an accountant, this is an opportunity. You can come up with a solution to them, and then to helping them to do maybe data management, process re-engineering, and vendor management. These three services also can be provided by accountants. And value-added services, for example, digital strategy development. You can incorporate sustainability goals into their digital strategy, and also continuous improvement. Regularly review invoicing process. Is there any changes? Is there any updates so that you can provide this information to your clients? Change management and compliance audit readiness. These two also, those areas that accountants can add value to our clients. And challenges for accountants. Of course, the challenges is technical adaptations. This one, over the years, I like study. But one of the things that I think most difficult for me to learn is IT. I don't know whether, Doctor, you agree or not. To us, because we are no longer young. Okay, so very difficult to learn easier to learn new things. But in terms of IT, sometimes it's challenging, So this is a challenging to accountant, old accountant like me, maybe. And then, we need to provide education and support to our clients. Okay, because most of our clients, they do not know what is invoice. We need to help them. We need to guide them. We need to provide guidance to them. This one, data security. You see, if you are a businessman, your staff getting your customer information every day, right? Your staff get your customer information, their IC, their income tax number, all the information, very personal information, your staff is collecting. So whether you comply with Data Protection Act or not, so this one is a challenge also. And then continuous learning and adaptation. When we talk about IT, I believe one last minute, we agree. Things keep on changing, hey? Especially IT. So we have to continuously learn and adapt. is very tough and not easier. So future accounting with e-invoicing, you see how our government now implement e-invoice. Whenever you issue e-invoice, you need to send to SDN to get validations. So future of accounting with e-invoicing, what I can think of is maybe they will connect with e-wallet or link to bank so that easier to facilitate payments so that you can make payment more easier. And also digital procurement system. For example, e-procurement platform used by governments or large corporations, they might incorporate e-invoicing into their system so that the entire procure to pay cycle will be very fast. Okay, of course, business intelligence tools, this one out of my scope, maybe I think Puan Rasmimi will have more idea about this one. So that maybe connecting your e-invoice data with BI tools so that you can do some analysis, assessment, evaluations to know where you are. And SME financing platform, this one is what I can think of. Maybe integrate with digital financing platform. Eventually, those digital financing platform that can do credit assessment on your company so that they will grant you credit financing or whatever. So the emerging technology in accounting, AI. Okay, this one is AI. Actually, AI is better than human. Of course, AI doctor is not as good as human doctor. But when we talk about accountants, especially analysis, because analysis, we don't have a lot of interaction. So maybe AI can do better job than us. So this one is maybe future accounting with e-invoicing. And lastly, very possible our e-invoicing system will direct links with SDN so that in the future we do not need to file our tax return, okay, because they have all our information already. So most likely, and then this one SST also the same. Every 2 months we need to submit SST return. In the future, maybe we are not required. Why? Because they have all our information already. They will just send us a payment slip. Please pay. This is your tax. Okay. Technically, I completed my sharing. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Time lunch a bit. Very sorry. Okay. Thank you. Is there any question?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chin. I open to the floor. Any questions on the whether to ask Ms. Puan Rasmimi or Mr. Chin?
Thank you, Prof. Nizam. Clear? Okay. Mr. Chin, hey. I got so many questions, but I think for today I ask maybe 1 or 2.
Okay.
Number 1, why they did not for the government, for the government and for the people. For the government, why can't they just do a simple one, GST? That's one point. Another question is that these gig economy, gig workers, do they have to do this? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the first one actually is government policy. Actually, I also having similar doubts like you. Okay, technically, if you ask me which policy is good, e-invoice or GST, to be honest, GST is better from my point of view. Because why? Because e-invoice, I believe most of you will see something from e-invoicing, say, it creates more work for you to do. And now, we don't know what is the reason, say. And now we don't know what is the reason. Why I need to issue e-invoice? Or why I need to get e-invoice? Because the government at this moment, they still haven't changed the law yet. People don't understand why we need to get e-invoice. Okay, so and then especially just I mentioned that if you import, you need to create self-bill in order to make you allow you to claim tax deduction. So this is extra work for you. So in terms of work, of course, e-invoice they claim more work to accountants, everybody want. So to me, actually, I also don't understand. I think government policy, maybe last time, because our existing government, last time when they took over the governments, they have no choice because this policy actually was raised by our previous governments. Our previous government, they raised up this one, e-invoicing. So after that, we changed governments. Our new government, they just implement it. I believe now they do some study. They realize the practical issue. Lately, there are some rumors saying that GST will back, but don't know when. So this is your, to answer the first question. So to answer your second question about gig economy, that means a lot of people, they are like 1.3 million. So they are doing small business. They are doing small business. You see, this group of people, if their revenue, their turnover actually is less than 150,000, they do not require to issue invoice. They do not require invoice, so will make their life more easier. And then also depends on who they work for. For example, this group of people, if they work for example, for Panda as a driver, sorry to say that in our e-invoicing framework, especially when we talk about e-commerce transactions, so as they actually put the responsibility to e-commerce platform. So whenever, for example, if you buy food from Foodpanda, if you request e-invoice, Foodpanda will issue you the invoice, not the merchant. And then similarly, the driver who send you the food, the e-commerce platform, they will do the sell bill. When they pay the driver the commissions, they will do the sell bill. So once they do the sell bill, of course, different will send to SDN to get validation. So this group of people, their income, of course, will appear in SDN system. For this group of people, it's a bit, compared to the previous one, this group of people, they have no way to hide their revenue. So okay. Talking about part-time lecturer, you see, okay, for part-time lecturer, okay, you see, if you are a lecturer, if you are a lecturer, full-time lecturer, you are getting salary. That's okay, that's fine. If you are part-time lecturer, for example, you are part-time lecturer for AeU paying you a fees. So currently they just pay you, issue you payment voucher, you just sign, isn't it? And then in the future, as you say, you have to determine whether your revenue more than 150 or not. If your revenue is less than 150, so you are not liable to issue invoice. But the thing is, how AeU entitled to claim the tax deduction? So my point of view is most likely AeU, they need to issue self-bill invoice to you. So in the future, they will know your income. Actually, a small tip to all of you. You see, if you have some income, you never reported before, in the future, all this type of income, they might expose, most likely. Okay? Okay, is there any questions?
Yeah, I have one question, but to
Yes.
one Rasmini, boleh? Sorry. Yeah. Just now you talk about the role of accountants in the digital transformation era. So looking forward ahead with this deployment of new technologies like AI and all that, can companies expect to pay lower to the accountants rather than from what the fees?
Yeah, very good question. Well, if you so at the moment, let's say you are paying your finance exec, I don't know, maybe accounting graduates nowadays about 3,000 to 4,000, right? Fresh grads. So a few years, well, now or maybe a few years ago, what finance exec did is quite a manual. They are involved in manual process, right? But when you introduce things like automation, AI, they will be doing a different function. They will no longer be doing manual job, repetitive tasks, all that. We call it low value added tasks. So if you think about it, you are paying about 3,000 to 4,000 for the finance exec doing low value added tasks. But going forward with automation, you're going to pay the same amount, but they will be doing a high value added task. So let's see, if I imagine now, when I was when I was an auditor, I was audit assistant too. For example, I need to do the vouching. I need to fold the bank confirmation letter. If you were an auditor, the first thing, if you are an audit assistant, you have to fold the bank confirmation letter in an appropriate way. You need to make sure to show the addressee in that, the envelope window. This is so mundane, very administrative, right? But now you are paying the same amount, 3,000 to 4,000, for them to do analysis. That is high value added. So I don't expect they will pay lower to accountants. They will pay about the same and maybe higher, just because they are doing high value added works, high value added tasks. So hopefully that answers the question. Potentially the same and also higher. That would be my take for it lah. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah, of course market rate. So that's why I think now I think firms are paying about 4,200 and above in Malaysia. In Singapore, you would expect higher. Yeah, and you can ask Mr. Chin and Puan Seniza how much they earn being having their own firm. So yeah.
Okay, if I may. All right, I will be commenting on from my perspective of view. Me and Mr. Chin, we are both practitioners. All right, I think most of us every year having a problem, discounted fees, right, Mr. Chin? Okay, for me, we can't say that the price getting lower because of the reducing of the workload. All right, but it comes when tadi Puan Rasmimi cakap kan, it comes into a human touch. All right, AI maybe can doing the clerical work. When it comes to the interpretation, it takes the experience, for us, and the experience take years for us to invest in generating the knowledge. So that's why I wouldn't agree. That means I disagree that you should pay lower. Thank you for that.
Any questions? Any other question from the floors? So it's getting hot about the fees. So probably am I have any tips to give to the company? Probably slightly, what are the percentage discount they can give to the?
If I may say, there's no discount.
Added value, there's no discount. So we need to remove the added values. Okay, I think that justifies the matter, sir. All right, I think we can conclude today's talk with the CEO, sir. Probably we can see you all in the next sessions. Sir. Thank you very much to Puan Saniza, to Puan Rasmimi. Thank you very much for Mr. Chin, sir. Thank you very much for everybody for coming. Thank you, Prof. Jari, for having a pleasant evening today, especially from CEO of the Borak Oils here, Borak Oil, Mr. Ali. We have also CEO of Cospeta, Dato Aziz at the back there, right? Probably we have a network session after this. Please do, we have a small gift here. I will invite Prof. Johari to give our so-called Cendramata. We start from Puan Saniza. All right, Puan Rasmimi. And for Mr. Chin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for Johari, our DVCs, and before we conclude our sessions, please, I would like to invite you all to our tea sessions. Before that, tea sessions there, and after that we have a photo session here. Okay, can have our tea because it's a tea talk. Then we have a tea break. Yeah, we have a photo session. Come first.